is there's no fixing this. This can't be fixed. Right? This can't be fixed. You just have to escape. So that's what I did. I went to a neighborhood where, I have a very low black population.
I'm telling you, man, this the reason why I be hating niggas, man. I'm telling you, man. It just be us. I be hating niggas, man.
What's wrong with you? What's wrong with y'all? You niggas are crazy!
Somebody had to do it. I am the chosen one. Somebody had to do it.
JLA era.
First and foremost, I just want to say that I don't want to relive what happened to me, 8 or 9 days ago. I'm here to talk about the future and how we can change it, how we can prevent this from happening to anybody else. These heinous crimes have to stop. I never want this to happen to anyone else, especially a mother, a daughter, somebody who is loved. So I just know what it's done to my family, not just to me. And I think that moving forward, we do need more accountability. And I definitely think that, we need more police officers, but like he said, the judges who are just letting people out with a slap. The man who attacked me and might have permanently damaged me forever should never have been on the streets, ever. And the fact that he had just gotten out of jail previously for something he should have been in there for years. It's really sad to me because I can't even fathom how many other people who have been attacked by the same type of man over and over and over in Toledo, in Columbus, Cincinnati, Dayton. Our streets are being taken over and nobody is doing anything. I am so sad. And I need to be the voice to help all of the victims that never got their justice. So I just want to say that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
This ain't no junkyard car. This is a 2024.
Faith Morris's livelihood as a DoorDash delivery driver.
I can no longer work right now. I can't make deliveries.
Now out of commission with $6,000 worth of damage. all over $18 worth of fast food.
I was outside for 10 minutes. This is the hood. I'm not about to sit outside with my kids in front of somebody's house I don't know for over 10 minutes.
This search warrant says Faith was unable to complete the delivery due to losing internet connection with the DoorDash app and returned home. Faith says that's when the customer bombarded her with calls.
She says, you just told me to have a blessed night. You said you was at home. I got your location.
Minutes later, a knock on her door caught on camera before Faith says she saw the woman proceed to bash her car. She believes the customer was able to track her home using the app's GPS since the order was never delivered.
I actually need a lawyer so that by the end of this, I can own DoorDash and change the policy. Because first of all, yes, DoorDash policies need to change.
DoorDash sent TMJ4 a statement that says this customer's actions are completely uncalled for, unacceptable, and disturbing. We have permanently banned them from our platform and are in touch with the Dasher directly to offer our support. The Milwaukee Police Department says the investigation is ongoing. We are seeking a known suspect at this time.
What do you hope happens to the person who did this to you?
I hope that they don't take this lightly at all. What she did, this is not warranted a 10-piece chicken wing.
Reporting in Milwaukee, Ben Jordan, TMJ4 News.
I hear you say that this is because you're black.
Yes, sir.
No.
Yes, it is.
You want to listen to me?
Lady, how many more people are parked in handicap? Don't touch me. How many more people are putting in handicap without a handicap sticker? I didn't even go inside the store. Only because you're white, not black. Don't raise your voice at me.
Do you want to listen to
It's because you're white, not black. I didn't even go in the store. I'm parked in handicap because I was getting something from my grandmother white.
I'm sorry, I'm just a bystander, but I'm fostering her with DCFS, and I can tell you, like, all this is not worth it.
You've already got a DCFS case.
Listen to her.
So figure out what the fuck you're gonna do with my kids then, because that's your job. You didn't have to stop. Why did you stop?
Hey, but listen.
Why did you stop?
I can answer your question if you shut
Because
up.
you heard what I said.
Let her talk. That's okay.
Do you want to listen to me?
All this can
Do you want to listen to what I have to say?
I don't.
Well, I do.
I will tell your
Yes,
granddaughter.
tell me.
what
Tell
I
me.
said.
Ma'am,
Ma'am,
let me
I am not going to take her to jail.
That's what I just told you.
You're not
I
taking
just
me to
told
jail.
you that.
Wait.
No.
You're only not taking me to jail
What
because you don't know
about
what the
the kids,
That's why she ain't taking me to jail.
What about the
That's
kids?
why she not taking me to jail.
No.
Because that means you got to figure out what's going to happen to my kids.
No.
Yeah, she is so inappropriate.
She is.
And this has zero to do with being black.
I know that.
She's in a handicapped spot. You have a handicapped placard because you need a handicapped placard.
Okay,
And so
did you hear her? She said something derogatory about you. So I guess maybe that's why you stopped. You told her she had.
No.
Oh, you didn't hear that?
I never heard a single word. Yeah, I didn't hear a single word. I stopped because as I'm driving through, I looked over and I was like, there's no handicap placard on there. I backed up. I didn't even get out of my car. I just said, you have a handicap placard? So no, this has zero to do with race. Okay? This has 100% to do with a handicap parking violation. Okay? Now, she was a warrant for her arrest. I can take her to jail.
Union City Police are desperately searching for this man. The surveillance video shows the suspect stabbing a teenage employee multiple times. This happened at the Dunkin' Donuts on State Route 138 Saturday evening. As she screams and tries to get away, he yells out obscenities while chasing her around the store, slinging a knife. Other employees watch in horror. Officer Jerome Turner says it all started in the drive-thru.
They attempted to order something that was on the menu but was not available. They became very upset that the item was not in stock or wasn't available.
The staff told police the man became irate and a verbal altercation began when he pulled around to the drive-thru window. Police say the staff refused service and the suspect drove off in a red Audi with a woman in the passenger seat.
And then returned a few minutes later. Just the male subject, which at that time he entered the store, got into another verbal altercation with the employees. The employee that was working came around the counter to ask him to leave, at which point he refused to leave. And then, of course, he pulled out a knife.
And that's when he started to stab the teen repeatedly. Police says she has defensive wounds and 2 cuts on her arm.
It's very unfortunate. And I mean, it could have been something fatal.
Police say it was a traumatic experience for all employees. Well, the teen and her family are not quite ready to talk about this violent attack, but I did speak with the family's attorney, Kamal Manson, and he sent us a statement. It reads in part, "We are concerned for her safety and well-being, and our office is in the process of investigating the matter. My office is happy to work with the police in any way we can."
Hit that like button, guys. Welcome to the show. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight. I think it's pretty obvious by now what we're going to be talking about. I did spell per capita wrong, truism. Damn it. Damn it. I hate you niggas that can read. If it wasn't for you other niggas that can read, bro, I would look so smart. I'm telling you, man, you niggas are just messing it up for me. Book reading, literate ass niggas. Can't stand y'all. Anyway, there you go. There you go. Let's start this over. No, we got it. I didn't even notice that till I saw you in the chat. Thanks for that correction. So black crime. Yeah, black crime, apparently it's a thing. It's out there in the world. Nobody likes to talk about it. People kind of like to pretend that it's not all that big a deal. But it's one of those unavoidable kinds of things, man. Black crime has been a topic of discussion among far-right circles for years now. I'm looking up Colin Flaherty on YouTube, and I think some of his oldest videos go back 9 years.
Trump gear they're sporting for USA Day. Students dressed in school colors had vehement reactions.
She made a mistake of putting the school's name in it, but she has her right to her opinion.
It's her personal account, too. It's not like she went into the school and wrote it or anything. She has the right to do it.
It's not a good idea, because then, she influences her students with the same ideas.
The school superintendent called the posting an extremely unfortunate incident and highly inappropriate. We were told Welsh was not in school, we were unable to reach her at her home, and our calls were not returned.
Leave a message and I'll call you back.
The original post has been taken down, but parents shared their opinions on the teacher, her possible pro-Clinton leanings, by calling her students wearing Donald Trump gear racist.
What if her account was hacked or whatever? You don't know.
There's no reason for her to pass judgment on those kids.
These convenience stores, when black people go in and start creating an enormous amount of violence, mayhem, and chaos, especially the black queens.
All power to the people. Elite. I wish he was still around. Rest in peace, Colin. He was a pioneer. He was alone out on a limb, on a cliff, in the middle of a storm. He was really a pioneer. Nobody wanted to touch this stuff years ago. Now it'll touch you, so you can't help but to talk about it. Elite. Hold fast. Y'all hold fast. Elite.
Excuse me.
Don't make the black queens angry.
This one? Oh, no. Look, it's like some food on.
I think you get the gist, right? Now, there's this issue And also, thank you to Chocolate Bunny out there for gifting memberships. Welcome to the church. Welcome to the church. Pull on up. Sit down in the front row. Thank you for coming in.
Again, okay, I'm gonna say it again. I come in the name of Jesus. Repeat it after me, bitch. I come in the name of Jesus by the power of the Holy Spirit.
Well, welcome to the church. Welcome to the church. I'm gonna put like a lot of my content behind the paywall pretty soon, and we're gonna start fresh. So you might as well get in. Join the church, y'all.
Like I told y'all before, we do not commit the most crimes. That's propaganda. We get convicted more.
A lot of white people believe that black people commit more crimes, but the truth is that black people are convicted of more crimes. Look at crack versus cocaine. Crack gets you way more time, even though cocaine is literally the purer form of the drug. More black people get busted for crack than pure cocaine, and more white people get busted with pure cocaine than crack. And this isn't an accident. Back in the Nixon administration, his domestic advisor even admitted to wanting to disrupt black communities by heavily criminalizing drugs associated with those communities. This was always about control, never about crime. The same system that used slave patrols to catch runaway slaves merely evolved into modern policing and mass incarceration. This is the system working as intended. And prisons are working with corporations in order to provide them with cheap labor, essentially slave labor. And bear in mind that many inmates are non-violent drug offenders who couldn't afford better representation. Sound familiar? Does it sound systemic? We need to boycott every corporation that profits from mass incarceration and take the money out of prisons.
I'm glad he...
See, there's this idea that, don't believe your lying eyes. Black people actually don't commit an exorbitant amount of crime. As if black folk don't commit a plethora of crimes. As if black folk don't create a culture of crime. We listen to music about crime, right? And so the idea that we don't really commit all these crimes is kind of hard for me to swallow.
Brought that up because it's been proven that the CIA was in fact behind the crack epidemic. They're the ones who brought it to our communities. They brought the drugs, they brought the guns, they took the jobs. We didn't know it back then, but we know it now. It's always been a systemic setup for us to fail. They wanted to kill us off, but we just won't die. But now that we know what's going on and who's behind it, it's up to us to change our mind and change our circumstances.
And the other day, SKC was up here. We were talking about the black elites, the boulets, and how they are very much complicit in pushing this particular psyche, this particular mythology. The idea that even per capita now, the very concept of per capita, I told you guys about the per capita wars on Twitter. The per capita wars rage on, bro. The per capita wars ain't going nowhere.
Black Americans are about 13 to 14% of the population.
Yes,
about half of all prisoners are black.
Exactly.
So blacks commit more crimes than whites do. They commit more murders, they commit more arsons, they commit more kidnappings. For example, blacks are 13% of the population and they commit 58% of all the murders.
Okay, let's talk about it. These are obviously racist claims, but I will respond to them as if Charlie Kirk were a reasonable person.
Black Americans are about 13 to 14% of the population.
Yes,
about half of all.
So he wants to debunk the classic 1350 meme.
Prisoners are black.
Wrong. Just 38% of America's prison population is black. That's according to the U.S. government. But it makes you wonder why Charlie feels the need to add an additional 12% to the black prison population. Could it be because his bigoted talking points only work if he exaggerates? If Charlie were actually looking for the race that makes up half the prison population in the U.S., he'd look no further than white people at 57%.
Exactly.
In the U.S., he'd look no further than white people at 57%.
So white people, according to this graphic, make up 57% of the inmate population, right? Now get this. Black people make up 38.9. You might as well call that a 40%. You might as well round that on up to an even 40. White people make up 50%. Where they're probably about 60% of the country nationwide. whereas black people only make up 13-ish% of the country, and we're in prison. We have 38.9% inmates in jail. That's you already lost your argument right there, bro.
Exactly. So blacks commit more crimes than whites do.
Wrong. The word "so" is doing a lot of heavy lifting in that sentence.
So blacks commit more crimes.
He's saying "so" as in therefore, as in one could conclude, but Charlie knows he's lying. Even if he hadn't just lied about the black prison population, Charlie is smart enough to know that correlation does not equal causation, but he's hoping that you don't know that. So he deploys the word "so" to make you think he's coming to an obvious conclusion.
So blacks.
Instead, he's making an illogical racist leap. Charlie knows that we don't have usable data about who commits crimes. It's impossible to have that data since so many crimes go both unreported and or unsolved. Charlie knows that we only have data about arrests and convictions. I'll come back to that data in a moment.
All of the data points to black people, though.
Painfully obvious is that Charlie Kirk isn't interested in understanding the statistics he so carelessly misquotes.
And notice there's a particular format and style even to a lot of leftist debunking videos. That's why they get called debunking. It's basically a lot of rhetoric, a lot of kind of flashy, look over here, look over there type of delivery, but they don't actually do a straight up logical debunking of the argument, especially like the 1350 thing. I mean, it's FBI stat. I mean, you can go and argue with the FBI, but you can't really debunk me for using their numbers. That's a problem you're going to have to work out away from here.
He's interested in making bad faith arguments, something that becomes even more obvious in his next point.
Blacks are 13% of the population and they commit 58% of all the murders.
Wrong again, and loud this time. If Charlie were interested in honesty, he would have mentioned the other 1350 statistic. Yes, black people are about 13% of the population, but make up 53% of all criminal exonerations.
Bringing up the exonerations is a giant red herring. I'll tell you why in a second.
In fact, black people make up 55% of all murder exonerations. Specifically, black people are more likely than any other group in this country to be convicted of crimes they did not commit. And then
here's the problem. What is the ratio of people convicted for murder every year versus people exonerated for a murder conviction every year? And so you're already talking about a minuscule, almost infinitesimal percentage of people who are actually being exonerated, especially on a murder charge, right? And so you're taking that tiny number and saying black people are the majority of that tiny, non-existent, infinitesimal, unimportant number. Debunking.
People like you have the nerve to parade these stats around as though they prove something. The reality is that you probably know these stats, but you leave them out on purpose because to bring that stat into this conversation would make some people think. And that's the last thing a person like you wants.
And that's what it is. That's all he did, right? He never actually got to Charlie's actual numbers. He brought up some other numbers about black folk maybe being exonerated, even though, again, as a percentage of all the people in jail, maybe 1% of people get exonerated every year. So even if all of those guys are black, it doesn't change the numbers that you're up against, you know? And these are the lengths that the college-educated, middle and upper middle class black folk will go to in order to obfuscate the truth. And then when all else fails, rely on slavery. There was a town hall meeting, I think in Cincinnati, where that brawl happened the other day. The lady that I just played at the press conference was from Cincinnati. She was the victim of that brawl. And a black guy had a question for Vivek. We've already talked about Vivek. Ohio is going to have to just suck it up and deal with the curry smell. I don't know what to tell you guys. I don't know what else to tell you, but it is what it is.
This value that you see out here. Well, look over the 400 years of all the violence that was perpetrated on our people. over the 400 years, look what you did to our people. But yet, you know.
Now, asking that question to an Indian man is insane. That is a black man asking an Indian man, for 400 years, look what you did to our people. You see what I mean? Yeah, listen, that reparations charge is the more non-whites that come over here, the less reparations you're gonna get. I'm telling you. You can't run the reparations must slavery hustle on these niggas. They not brown like you.
No more money for you. It's lazy. You lazy. You lazy. No more money for you.
See, Vivek got a different kind of melanin. He don't got the same kind of melanin you got. It's got curry and saffron and all that. Curry and saffron in it. It's not your melanin.
This balance that you see out here would look over the 400 years of all the violence that was perpetrated on our people. Over the 400 years, look what you did to our people. But yet, you know, it's not over with. No, it's not over with. That's the thing. Okay. You want to sweep our history under the table, but you don't sweep the Ashkenazi Jews with the Hitler thing under the table. All the things that you did to the other races of people, you don't sweep that under the table. But when it comes down,
Vivek just standing there smelling all Indian, like, who, me? What did I do? Vivek ain't never say nothing bad about the Jews. He ain't own no slaves. Vivek is just like absorbing all of the historical burdens right now. And you wanted it. Now you got to deal with it.
To the black Negroes, we can always sweep what happened to us under the table. So I'm telling you right now, the Most High is looking at all of this. That's why, according to Deuteronomy 28, chapter 28, chapter 29, and chapter 30, for all you ministers, you need to read it, because we're living in Revelation times. And it tells you what was done to my people are going to happen to you.
Robert, look, I want to thank you for one thing out the gate, is that I said this at the start. I don't think anybody think I planted Robert's question. We didn't plant the questions tonight. We have promised an open and candid conversation. Sometimes that makes us uncomfortable. I felt a little uncomfortable as you asked that question, but that's what you should expect of your leaders, to be able to engage with you. So let me say a couple words. First, about the pride of this city. Christopher, you mentioned it at the outset. Cincinnati was the end of the Underground Railroad. Have we been perfect for all of our national history? Of course we're not perfect. In fact, we're destined to never be perfect, because we're not a nation comprised of gods. We're a nation comprised of human beings.
Yes, please, Indian immigrant man, tell us about the history of our nation and the people who founded it. Please, foreign Indian man, tell us more.
And we're a nation founded on a set of ideals. So that means you will always be imperfect, because nobody ever criticizes China or Iran or whatever for hypocrisy. Because to be a hypocritical nation, you had to have ideals in the first place. So here's what I'll tell you, Robert. And am I going to say America was perfect for every chapter of our national history? Of course not. We're a nation founded on ideals. We're a nation founded on human beings who will always fall short of those ideals. But I would rather live in a country that has ideals and falls short of them than to live in a country with no ideals at all. And this is
that is low key one of the challenges for Vivek. Not just in this moment, but going forward in this climate that's taking over now. You have to resist the temptation to carry the white guilt. And Vivek, he kind of wants to harness the power of a lot of the disgruntled white voters, especially being on the right, because he's a Republican. And then him being brown it would actually serve him better to be a lot more like staunchly right wing as a brown, slick talking immigrant dude. But he can't do that. He doesn't want to do that. And the question now remains, will he actually bend the knee and carry the white goods?
I'll give you a chance to respond in a moment. Do I think we should sweep the parts of our history that make us uncomfortable under the rug? No. Just as I don't think we should sweep last week's history under the rug. No. We have to confront what is true, not just when it makes us uncomfortable, but precisely when it does not. But the question is how we move forward. Because the only part that lands with me a little bit differently is when you say...
This is what I've been saying about Vivek for a while now. At first, I was kind of cautiously enjoying the slick talking foreign guy, but I always said I'm reserving my anger. I'm reserving my full blessing. And then he finally went, full foreigner and started talking shit about you Americans, you lazy, and us Indians, we work harder and we're smart. I'm like, oh, there it is. There it is, that Republican Obama. There it is. I knew it. And so I don't trust him in that exact same way. I look at him as a Republican Obama.
Our people. When I hear that, I'm thinking about our people as everybody in this room. I see black, white, brown, man, woman. These are our people. America is our people. Ohio is our people. Cincinnati is our people. And I believe it is the God-given right of every person to be able to live a life free of violence, to be able to speak their mind in the open without fear of retaliation. And may I even say, if you're a hardworking American, to go into your city, whether you're black or white, without fear of actually being assaulted or battered, that ought to be the birthright of every American. That's what I want for our people.
And it's so weird. This is such a weird, precarious position for black folk in the grand scheme of things. Like if you just get raw ethnic, racial politics about it. So for the longest time in America, the only real other minority group in America, the only real minority group in America was black folk, right? And then like as America expanded out west, Davy Crockett and the Buffalo Soldiers and all that, we took over a lot of territory. And even then, if you went back into like the 50s and the 60s, like you go to almost any city in California, it's majority white with a small black population, right? Well, now with this issue of like mass immigration and all these other competing brown ethnicities side by side with black folk, it's almost like America is shopping around for a new minority. And we have to maintain our number one spot. We can't let America select another minority group for the number one spot. Even if it means you got to kick the chair out from under somebody. I don't really care. I don't care. That's how it is. That's just what it takes. They would kick the chair from under me.
Robert, and I appreciate you asking that question. Let me just give a few other people a chance. We'll come back to you. Why don't you give me we'll be very brief, and then I want to give some other people a chance.
Let me say this. It tells you in the scriptures that the people who put us in captivity is going to have a perpetual hatred against us. It says in the scriptures that they would not pity the young or the old. Who do I listen to? I listen to the Most High. I don't listen to man, because man is not who saved me. So it tells you in the scriptures a perpetual hatred. And that's what I see every day. You can go on YouTube all around the nation, and what do you see? Our people getting crucified. But nobody steps up and say anything about it. But when something happens like this, it's a big uproar. Well, to my understanding, the gentleman was the one who cast the first stone. And I think you have a stand.
I'm not even sure if that's true. There's dispute over whether or not the white guy really threw the first punch. Because so far, there's people saying, look, if you look at the video, black guy hit first and the white guy kind of hit later.
Brown law here in Ohio saying that you can defend yourself even with a weapon. And anybody with you can defend also. I'm done.
Thank you, Robert. I appreciate it. All I will say is on the matter of history, right? We're leaving the facts of last week. I kept a promise. I'm going to make it. We're going to leave that to the court system to adjudicate. We all saw what we saw on the internet. But what I will say to you is, we had a first question about the Christian backdrop of support. The next question of quoting scripture. I will say that the ultimate grace over a long period of time lies in our ability to forgive and to move on as well, firmly. And I think that's what it's going to take to bring our country and our people together. Christopher, you want to say a word as we get over here to the next question? We'll come to you, sir, right after Christopher.
I just want to respond to Robert, who's a friend, to share with you that African Americans have always had a very high standard. African Americans and our—
What is this bullshit you talking about? We haven't had a high standard since like the 40s, bro. I might even push it to the 50s if we're gonna be generous, you know, how to sell to the Negro. But it all started to go down after that, man. I'm telling you.
Our country have always had a very high standard. Our people, even in poverty, operated at the highest level of dignity. An example would be the Tuskegee Airmen.
See,
and so what 40s. I want to share—
Nigga literally went back to the 40s, like I said. You have to go back 2, maybe 3 generations to go find high class or high dignity, high class black folk on average, right?
With all of you, is what happened 10 or 12 days ago was not our best moment. It was not. We cannot operate eye for an eye and tooth for a tooth.
Oh, he up there yelling at niggas. Oh, shit. I don't even know who that nigga is. He might be full of shit, but I do like this moment. He really did come out there yelling at niggas.
What's wrong with you? What's wrong with y'all? You niggas are crazy.
Not our best moment. It was not. We cannot operate eye for an eye and tooth for a tooth. It is not how we operate.
Yes, it is.
Punching people in the face and knocking Holly out. Holly did not deserve what happened to her. Those men operating with a WWE and jumping off on them and slamming their bodies into them was not our best moment. It was.
But doesn't it kind of maybe speak to who we or at least a good chunk of a lot of us are? Because it's not like that's the one crazy videotape of black folk doing all kind of reckless violence, right? It's not like that just happened and it's like, oh my God, did you see this? No, this is just another drop in a bucket. Like, imagine black violence as a 5-pound bag of rice. This is merely a grain. This one video, this one incident is merely a grain, one teeny tiny grain in your 5-pound bag of rice, of violence, black violence rice, long grain.
It wasn't our best moment as Americans. It wasn't our best moment as a people. We must own that. And so I just want to say to my friend Robert that this country has never been perfect for our people. I acknowledge the pain. This is why we chose this location here by the Ohio River, where our people came over that river for freedom.
I think that credit card is starting to run out, man. That civil rights, Jim Crow, slavery debt, I don't think the next generation of people coming up, whether it's immigrants or just the regular white folk of America, I don't think we're going to be able to swipe that card as much going forward, bro.
And let me share with you, brother, white abolitionists, all up and down 50, took care of us and made sure that we had freedom with great sacrifice. My point to you is this: in this moment, I want to give a voice, paying it forward, for those white abolitionists who took care of us. It's now for us in this moment to be able to look at humanity and say what happened in downtown Cincinnati was wrong. And we don't want to accept it. We don't want to make an excuse for it. We don't want to find a way to say somebody did something to me that caused me to hurt people the way they did. There's violence is never the answer. Thank you.
You know what? On the whole, I'm really not going to pick apart anything that man just said. I think I would like to let that stand. That being said, though, I feel an earnestness in what he just said, because I do think, especially among the, the leadership class, the boule niggas, all the connected black folk, I do think they may be starting to feel a tremor. They're starting to feel the ground shake beneath them. And that is a cause for consternation, because things are shifting here. Let me play an older clip from Nick Fuentes right now.
The N word, which like children, we have to, like the F word, I said the S word. We still have to say the N word. And I think this speaks to the level of the whole country, as we all know, is walking around on eggshells not to offend the black people. We all know you can offend white people, Hispanics, you can offend Asians, you can heap discrimination and racism on Arabs, Muslims, even Jews on some level. But we all know black people, careful what you say, or else you'll be canceled. If you're not in good standing, if you don't have the stamp of approval, you'll get shouted down. And I think it's totally ridiculous. So I totally oppose it. I think that, look, it's a word, sticks and stones, break my bones, etc. People get called retard. People get called all kinds of other things. People can say things that are even meaner, that are more personal. But for some reason, blacks are this protected class. You can't say their special word. I think it's total joke. I think that if whites and blacks want to live together in harmony, there has to be a real mutual basis of equality. Nobody's ever said that there's things off limits you could say about white people. Jamie Foxx can go on SNL and say, I play Django, I get to kill a lot of white people, which is pretty awesome. You talk about killing white people on TV, that's fine. You utter the syllables of a slur, suddenly you're a racist, like Michael, or what's his name, Kramer from Seinfeld. It's totally insane. It's got to go. And by the way, that's for the benefit, I think, of both people.
Now, that was Fuentes kind of explaining the whole N-word hypocrisy, and especially the way a lot of black folk like to really just wield the word, like we own the word, and I declare war on you if I hear you use the word without having the proper passing. Like, you need paperwork, and you need to get your N-word pass stamped and double approved and all that. And a lot of people are just over it all. That really is the bottom line. They really are just over it. And not only that, but if you understand like the problem of the groyper and the generational shift that's happening right now in American culture and politics, Nick Fuentes has been the most accurate and most consistent right-wing voice, and especially among the dissident online right. And now you have this moment where when it comes to questions of race and race realism, if there's anywhere you were going to go to have conversations and get a real, raw, honest, even here's the thing, a non-hateful, non-malicious opinion, because Nick Fuentes doesn't spew a lot of vitriolic, bombastic stuff. He doesn't call for violence or gassing or anything stupid like that. But he's very blunt and honest. And a lot of the young people are going to move toward his bluntness and his honesty because they want truth. You've been lying to them their whole lives, and they can see around them and the bruises and the scarring on their friends and girlfriends, they can see the product of your lies all around them, and they will listen to a Flint
Can a
Senate.
nigga live? Can a nigga live? Please. It's a shame. I really do believe, look, I think black people are not irredeemable, but there just needs to be brutal honesty. It's like, look, these black people are really struggling and they're turning into these maniacs. It seems like they don't do anything right. They're obnoxious, they're rude, they're inconsiderate, aggressive, cruel. And, you know, look, nobody hates black people for being black. If there are people like that, I think that's exceedingly rare. And I don't consider myself one of them. The reason that people have negative attitudes about black people is because most people's interactions with black people are negative. Most people's interactions with black people is when you're stuck in traffic and you see a Nissan Altima speeding down the shoulder. And you say, what the fuck? You're not supposed to do that. If everybody did that, it would just be another lane. And, you know, not everybody can do that. But it's like these people have no respect for decorum. They think the rules don't apply to them. They have no respect for society. Like that's their interaction is they are a waiter and they wait on a black table and the black people don't tip and they're fucking rude. Like that's most people's interactions. It's stuff like that. They go to the DMV and they see a black person behind the counter and they say, oh, here we go. And the person's rude. Now, it just goes to show people are not racist. It goes to show people don't like people that are rude. That people don't, it's unpleasant. People want to be treated with consideration and respect. And it is true that black people are, in this day and age, unfortunately, seem to have very low moral character. It's not even just the violence, although the violence is pretty striking. If you live your life and you know that you're going to be mugged by black people, it kind of colors your opinion or perception of black people, wouldn't you say? If 99% of the carjackings and stabbings and shootings that you see in Chicago are by black people, when you're walking down the street late at night, guess what you're looking for? Black people. And you equate that with danger. And it doesn't take a lot of them to spoil the whole bunch like that. And we just want black people to take accountability and say, look, I'm not a bad person. I'm not a bad person. It just seems that every time I encounter you people, for the most part, it's negative. And sometimes extremely negative, like I could get a gun in my face. You know, that's a problem. And people go, well, you are just loaded up with hatred and racism. It's like, I'm really not. I'm a really friendly person. I'm a really polite, friendly person. I give everybody a chance. But if I'm someplace and I see some black person walking in with their pants sagging and they can't articulate what their problem is or what they need, and they're rude and they're aggressive and I'm in fear for my life, like, yeah, I have a problem with all of that. And people go, and these black people go, well, you're racist, you're racist. It's like, no, I just hate inconsiderate behavior. If black people were super well behaved, we would be racist in the other direction. We'd say, black people, oh, yes, dude, yes. My day is about to turn around for the better. What can I help you with, sir? Please come right on in. Man, what a relief to see you here. You're a sight for sore eyes. If black people were known for being the best, then we would be racist in the other direction. Oh, finally. So yeah, that really bothers me. It just bothers me in this damn ass city, because that's all it is in Chicago, is just these black people who can never take accountability. It's always somebody else's fault.
That somebody from Doge was very badly hurt last night. You saw that. A young man who was beat up by a bunch of thugs in D.C. And either they're going to straighten their act out in the terms of government and in terms of protection, or we're going to have to federalize and run it the way it's supposed to be run.
So this news sent shockwaves across the district.
Yeah, the News 4 I-Team's Ted Oberg has been looking into this. Ted, you've got some new information since last we spoke.
Yeah, Jim, and on a total, a lot of stuff to unpack here. Let's start with the president's Truth Social post. He says crime in D.C. is totally out of control. Statistics from MPD, D.C. police say violent crime here in the district this year down 26%. He said minors know that they nothing will happen to them. Also, sort of questionable, 85% of juveniles accused of a crime last year were prosecuted by the D.C. Attorney General's office. What we know about this incident the president was talking about, a DOJ staffer who Elon Musk, according to a post he said on put on X just a short time ago, said was trying to defend a woman from who was being assaulted by a group of about a dozen young men. A DOJ team member saw what was happening, ran to defend her. And there you see is the picture of what Elon Musk and President Trump allege happened to that young man. We know this is about 3 o'clock in the morning on Sunday, just a couple days ago. DC Fire did go out there. They did not transport that young man with any injuries that needed to be treated at a hospital. Elon Musk saying he had symptoms of a concussion, but again, not taken to the hospital. According to sources familiar, we know that 2 juveniles from Maryland have been placed in custody of the DC Department of Youth Rehabilitation Services for assault and attempted carjacking charges. Again, 2 juvenile suspects now in the custody of DC authorities. And the case will be handled not by Jeanine Pirro, the U.S. Attorney for D.C., but by the D.C. Attorney General Brian Schwab, who sent us a statement a short time ago, which partly says no one who lives, works, or visits D.C. should experience this. It's horrific and disturbing. When MPD brings us cases with sufficient evidence of juveniles who have broken the law and hurt people, we will prosecute them and ensure they face consequences for their actions. Statistics put up by their office sort of prove that most recently. One other note, Jeanine Pirro was recently, just a couple minutes ago, at a National Night Out event for DC police. And she told the crowd there, which, by the way, had heckled her previous to this, that crime is going down in DC, thanks to parents, the community, and DC police. Somewhat of a conflicting message to what the president put out there on Truth Social.
Indeed.
For sure. I know it's just breaking, Ted, but any word from anyone in the city about this latest threat from the president?
Yeah, aside from what we heard from the D.C. Attorney General Brian Schwab's office, no, we have not heard. We have calls out, obviously, to everyone involved.
So after what happened to the former DOJ employee, otherwise known as Big Balls, President Trump is threatening to unleash the National Guard onto Washington, D.C. because you guys can't control your streets. Take control of your city.
Including the mayor's office. We've not heard back.
And you had mentioned at 5 o'clock that juveniles can be charged as adults in some cases in D.C. The president called for that in his Truth Social message, as young as 14, so that they receive longer prison terms. Something like carjacking, something like assault. Would a teenager, do we know, be charged as an adult in most cases or not?
Most cases, probably not. In some cases, certainly. Not only can it happen in D.C., it does happen in D.C. It's a case-by-case analysis, some at the Attorney General's office, some at the U.S. Attorney's office. And the rules for that, President Trump may suggest, may need to change, but they're.
And as much as America likes to talk about race and grapple with the race issue, what's going on, Sean? As much as that remains true, what you have here are 1, 2, 3 non-black people talking around the fact that all of this crime that they're talking about is largely perpetrated by young black kids. It just is. And that is just like the third rail in American media and politics right now.
Is a way to do it right now. The laws do not need to be changed to do it. It can be done here, and it is.
And meanwhile, Ted, there's also news today involving the D.C. agency responsible for housing teens who do get in trouble, the Department of Youth Rehabilitation Services. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, and ironically, that's the agency that is right now housing the 2 juveniles who are accused in this incident. But today we learned of a new lawsuit filed by an attorney representing a young woman who says she was repeatedly sexually abused at that D.C. juvenile facility. We spoke to her lawyer, who wants to talk with families who have similar allegations and concerns. Look.
Hey, listen, man, when I was in B-More, they said flat out, you don't want to go to jail in D.C., bro. Whatever you do, don't get locked up with them D.C. niggas, bro. They weird. That's what the Be More Streets was telling me, bro. You know, this was years ago. Apparently, it's still true.
Burning threats to take over the district from President Trump. In the Oval Office earlier this evening, he spoke again about crime in D.C., calling the city unsafe. Thanks for joining us for the News 4 Rundown. I'm Un Yang. The president went a step further tonight, talking about the possibility of bringing in the National Guard. And then he had this response to a reporter's question about whether he would repeal the Home Rule Act. Take a listen.
We're going to look at that. In fact, the lawyers are already studying it. We have to run D.C. This has to be the best run place in the country, not the worst run place in the country. And it has so much potential. And we're going to take care of it. You're going to be safe.
While the president's threat tonight is significant, it's important to remember this is not the first time we've heard these kinds of remarks from him.
Safety is a big, big deal. You know, we were talking about this just yesterday, really. Does poverty create crime? Does crime create poverty? And either way, the simplest way to look at it is you can't really do anything if you don't feel safe on your own street. And this is just ever since George Floyd, it's like the crime wave just went crazy. Now they're saying the numbers are going down a little bit, but nobody really believes the numbers anymore. We've all been lied to severely, so we all have trust issues now.
On March 28th, the president posted on Truth Social calling for D.C. to be, quote, clean and safe again, adding that he would work with Mayor Bowser. And if it did not happen, he would do it himself. A day before that post, Mr. Trump ordered the creation of the D.C. Safe and Beautiful Task Force, targeting crime prevention and maximizing immigration enforcement in the district. On February 19th, while talking with reporters on board Air Force One, President Trump said the federal government should, quote, take over D.C., backing a GOP push in Congress to repeal the Home Rule Act.
Right now, though, you know, we haven't talked politics much lately on this channel. And that's on purpose, actually, because it's one, I'm not really into saying my thoughts on politics right now. It's bad for the channel. I resolve to that realization that for me to get too political on this channel would be bad for the channel, because the things I want to say are bad to talk about. So I don't want to talk about it at all. But I will say this. On the domestic front, the Democrats are looking crazy right now. Trump it's like a full court press. The Democrats are just running from one issue to the next, taking an L. Everywhere they pop up, they're getting smacked back down like whack-a-mole. And here's the deal. If Trump can actually pull off this combination of redistricting and then also pulling off the census without counting the illegals, because the last time we had a census, right, the illegals were counted, because technically you just count bodies. Like, even when the census people come around, they tell you, listen, we're not immigration, we're not going to tell nobody about nobody's name, we just want to do a body count, a head count. And they were counting illegals. So Trump wants to redo the census and remove all the illegals from the thing. So now it's an age ID verification check type of thing. Like, how else can you do that? So now he wants to take all the legals off the count, which means Democrats get less representatives off the rip. And on the state internal level, they have like these redistricting battles going on in Texas where Jasmine Crockett might lose her seat. The whole thing is looking bad right now for the Democrats. And on top of that, he took all their U.S. aid money. He's breaking up their little slave immigration labor networks, like that pot farm, that wheat farm that got raided in L.A. a couple weeks ago. Big donors to Gavin Newsom, right? Had teenagers out there working on the weed farm. And now he's running up into the capital city, bringing the gangsters, bringing the guns, showing everybody he's the big, tough, strong white man. And the Democrats, they've been so out of touch, they really have no solution for the big, tough, strong white man. They keep calling him a racist, and God damn it, nobody cares anymore.
Somebody had to do it. I am the chosen one. Somebody had to do it.
recent push to federalize D.C. came after a former Doge staffer was allegedly assaulted in the city over the weekend. That staffer, Edward Korstein, has been in headlines before because of his role within Doge and his age. He's only 19 years old. News 4's Jessica Albert digs into his backstory and alleged assault.
For months earlier this year, the Department of Government Efficiency made controversial spending cuts to the federal government on behalf of the Trump administration. Some of the members of the small team, led by billionaire Elon Musk, gained notoriety, including 19-year-old Edward Korstein. Now, Korstein is back in the news, even though he's no longer a member of Doge. D.C. police say he and a woman, described in a police report as his significant other, were the victims of an attempted carjacking early Sunday morning here on Swan Street in Northwest. The report states a large group of juveniles approached the couple, made comments about taking their car, and assaulted Korstein. D.C. police arrested two 15-year-olds from Maryland. The alleged attack spurring this.
Two 15-year-olds from Maryland. And like, this is kind of the problem. This is a perfect encapsulation of the problem that we have as a nation going forward. The things that you would have to do to solve the problem are going to make a lot of people uncomfortable. What if somebody was armed and now you got to shoot these 15-year-old kids? Like, are we now supposed to feel bad for these poor, impoverished, oppressed, connected to slavery and Jim Crow black teenagers now? Are we supposed to feel bad for them now? Like, you're out there as a 15-year-old kid in a pack of teenagers and you're trying to carjack somebody and then you just happen to get shot. Are we supposed to feel bad? Like, the things that have to happen are going to make a lot of people unhappy, but they have to happen. Do you want to live in a civilization or not?
Police say he and a woman, described in a police report as his significant other, were the victims of an attempted carjacking early Sunday morning here on Swan Street in Northwest. The report states a large group of juveniles approached the couple, made comments about taking their car, and assaulted Korstein. D.C. police arrested two 15-year-olds from Maryland. The alleged attack spurring this fiery Truth Social post from President Trump, which included this photo showing a bloody and battered man. The post from the president renewed his threats to federalize the city, calling crime in D.C., quote, out of control, even though D.C. police statistics show crime in the city is down 26% compared to the same time last year.
And either they're going to straighten their act out in the terms of government and in terms of protection, or we're going to have to federalize. And
is crime really down, though? Because, like, Trump just fired a guy for lying about the numbers, and that was just labor numbers, right? If they'll lie about one thing, they'll lie about another thing. They'll lie about everything. And so how do we know that the crime really went down? I can't really trust you guys on it. But do me a favor, hit that like button, y'all. Throw $1.50 for me.
Give me the money. Give me the money for all that I would do. Give me the money.
I know that little nigga personally, and I will send him at you.
Run it the way it's supposed to be run.
NBC News reports Korstein left Doge in June and began working for the Social Security Administration as a special government employee. News 4 reached out to the agency to see if Korstein is still working there. We are waiting to hear back.
D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser has not made any comments yet about this situation. We reached out to her office again and were told that she has nothing to add at this time. In D.C., Jessica Albert, News 4.
By the way, I have to say that somebody from Doge was very badly hurt last night. You saw that. A young man who was beat up by a bunch of thugs in D.C. And either they're going to straighten their act out in the terms of government and in terms of protection, or we're going to have to federalize and run it the way it's supposed to be run.
President Trump threatening to federalize our nation's capital again, this time after an alleged attack on a prominent former Doge employee.
Two 15-year-olds have been arrested for attempted carjacking, the victim being Edward Korstein, who was employed by Doge to slash federal bureaucracy, but is now at the Social Security Administration.
President Trump posted on Truth Social after the incident, saying in part that crime is totally out of control in D.C. that local youths and gang members are attacking at random because they are not afraid of law enforcement, that these youths, sometimes aging between 14 to 16, should be tried as adults. His post goes on to say if nothing changes, he will federalize Washington, D.C.
Now, this comes as crime is actually down for our nation's capital. Look at these numbers here. Overall violent crime is down 25% from the same period last year. Also,
last year it was up like it's been at record levels for a while now. Ever since George Floyd, crime just kind of spiked to like 1990s levels. And I think it got so bad that a lot of people, especially these Democrat black woman-ran cities, shout out to Muriel Bowser, I think it's just easier for you to guys just lie about the numbers. You'll just fudge your numbers, you know, stop counting all the paperwork and all that kind of stuff.
crime in DC was down 35% in 2024 under Biden. So technically, that's not great for President Trump, who, you know, you're the person in charge. He blames Biden for everything. It's kind of like, why did it get worse? And also, I think year to year, even looking like 2 years ago or from his first term, crime is down in DC. So even though an issue becomes hyper-focused on, we don't want anybody to ever get carjacked or hurt. These are crime issues across the country, right? These are happening anywhere in the country. Carjackings happen probably every day, I'm assuming. So
yeah, a black person in America can get you anywhere. You just never know where you might get carjacked by some young black person. All over the country. It's just a thing that might happen to you. That's why they have that meme about the guy at the gas station looking over his shoulder. He's like, there could be black teenagers here. Like we've already cemented a lifelong diehard meme about that very problem. Anywhere you go in this country, look over your shoulder, you're pumping your gas. Black teenagers could pull up any minute now.
it's kind of like, it's not a, I don't think a stance where the federal government needs to come in and kind of like redo DC, because it's such, and mind you, I've only been here for a short time. You actually live it and experience it. But from my purview, understanding and reading the stories, it's not like this rampant thing that's out of line with other states across the country.
Yeah, so I've been living in DC since 2012. I went to college here, and I've seen how the city has changed firsthand. And a huge part of the crime spike, of course, was due to the pandemic, but also there were a lot of policy changes made by the DC City Council, including a bill that was introduced by City Councilman Charles Allen that actually did give lighter sentences and penalties to youth offenders, and even for the most violent youth offenders. Things like people who had been involved in rapes and murders were able to get out of prison within 10 to 15 years if they had committed that crime under the age of 25. This has given a license to young roving gangs to go around DC and terrorize people. And although crime is down, as you mentioned, 35% last year, 25% this year, that's good news. It's really not at the level that it was when I first moved here, and certainly back in the 90s when the federal government did take control of Washington, D.C. and install a mayor who took care of crime, cleaned up the city, and really had the best run of any mayor that we've had in D.C. for the past 30 years. We've also seen that the youth crime rates in DC have not been tracking that general trend. And people are sick and tired of driving around the city and feeling like they could be the next victim of these carjackings, which really are more prevalent here than they are in a lot of other cities.
Yeah, for sure. And I want to emphasize before I get into anything else that obviously crime is terrible, and also people who commit egregious crimes, specifically like rape and some of the things that you named, should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. I think when you talk about teens and like 14 to 16, there are always opportunities to overcharge people or mischarge people. And there are also implications that certain people that look.
Now they're actually trying to speak on behalf of the teens. Don't overcharge them. Don't mischarge them. You see, this is why we can't let these chicks run stuff, bro. They always lean to being soft on the kid, man. You can't do that. You got to bring the hammer down on these kids, bro.
You want me on that wall. You need me on that wall.
A certain way may be the ones committing the crime, like we saw in the very publicized Central Park 5 instance, where these people are now acquitted of everything. And I think that that is a time where we have to make sure.
The Central Park 5 were not acquitted. From a legal standpoint, they have not been found innocent or anything like that. They were released from jail.
that we can look at situations and say these young teens' lives were ruined over something that they were not guilty for, and we have to make sure that we're not overcharging young children in instances where they perhaps didn't do anything, or perhaps they were around, or perhaps they were young, and perhaps they need an opportunity to grow. Because the difference between people with resources and without is that people with resources can do the same crimes, but their parents can help them get out of that situation. People without resources commit a crime and they never get out of the situation. So all I want is the equal justice system for people that look all different kind of ways and have different economic opportunities, and just be a legitimate way forward, instead of just throw everybody in jail, because we know that technically does not work through many states that have tried similar programs.
Earlier, we were talking about the whole exoneration issue and how a lot of the exonerated are black folk, and the Central Park Five are a big mascot for that entire wave. But I don't know, Elsid, what video you're talking about, but I actually watched, I think it was from Atheism is Unstoppable, long time ago. I think he's banned on YouTube now, but the kangaroo guy, right? Atheism is Unstoppable. He had a great thing going a couple years ago. He was on his white people shit. He always had a lot of cute white girls and white music, and he was like doing a thing, but it's weird because he was a straight up liberal. But he was like a pro-white liberal. It's a weird place for him, I guess. But anyway, he played that video of their interrogation footage, and the kids all confessed to all different kind of things. None of them confessed to anything like what you would call a penetration of the woman, but they confessed to doing enough worthy of going to jail. And so it's not that they were innocent or there was any evidence of their innocence, anything like that. It's just that from a political standpoint, with the George Floyd thing and all the Black Lives Matter stuff, they were like, you know what? Let's just try it. Let's see what we can get. We've been getting all this other stuff off the ground. Let's try for these niggas. And they got it. It was really like that. If it wasn't for George Floyd, I don't think they'd have got out of jail. It was a momentum thing.
Yeah, I wish we had more time to get into the Central Park 5 case, because they weren't acquitted. Their sentences were vacated, which they claimed was due to this, basically the sixth person, their DNA being finally matched to the person who had actually raped the woman. But all of these people did confess, including with guardians present, and had remarkably consistent accounts of what happened, even independently taking the police to the scene of the crime separate from one another. But obviously we can't really litigate that in this short of a segment. But one of the other things I wanted to mention about this incident involving the former Doge staffer is that he should be heralded as a hero. According to the police report, which came out last night, the Daily Caller News Foundation got their hands on it. There were actually 10 people. They obviously arrested 2, but there were 10 to 12 people who were trying to carjack a young woman. And this guy saw what was happening, and despite being severely outnumbered and outmatched, decided to step in, make sure that she was able to get in her vehicle and be protected, put his body on the line, and took.
Oh, I bet you just love that, right? Yeah, some man, he came up and he was the hero. He took all the punishment for her, from a lady. I know you just love that.
The beating for her. That is an American hero. Go and be protected, put his body on the line, and took the beating for her. That is an American hero. Go and be protected, put his body on the line, and took the beating for her. That is an American hero. Vehicle and be protected, put his body on the line, and took the beating for her. That is an American hero.
A real American hero. G.I. Joe. That's what it takes. You got to save a girl from a... I was about to do it. I was about to say some Mel Gibson shit. I was about to do it. You know, shout out to Mel Gibson, man. He was actually a prophet. Mel Gibson was actually a prophet. If you look at all of his career, he picked a lot of movies trying to warn you, you know, Conspiracy Theory, Apocalypto. He was trying to put you on game. Mel Gibson was a prophet. And when he told that woman, you might get attacked by a pack of ends, he was just saying that's just kind of the thing that be going on out here. You never know. Shout out to Big Balls, a real American hero.
Will be protected, put his body on the line and took the beating for her. That is an American hero. And everyone who was saying nasty things about him because he has a silly nickname ought to apologize, because this guy is who we should be looking up to. That is inspirational, what he did for that woman.
100%. I think that that's one of those things that should be not partisan at all. Somebody tried to jump in to help another person, and carjacking is wrong, right? These are two, these are just
Objective
facts. Yeah,
truths.
objective truths.
Yes.
Thank you. And I know we could talk about this forever, but my main point was acquitted. I used the wrong word, exonerated Central Park Five, but I also understand
say that either,
but they were exonerated. And I think that the point is that when you talk about young kids that were in the process the way they were and being held in rooms to speak for hours with parents that were working multiple jobs and underprivileged circumstances, these are all instances where you don't have those same resources, where your mom, if I have a daughter, I called up work, I would be wherever she was if she was getting in trouble. So there would be no questioning. There would be no lawyer not present to protect my child. All these different things would happen because I have the resources. And so we're talking about kids from the middle of the city that didn't have the resources, that had parents that were working. And so I would never want these instances to happen, to bring it back to President Trump and what he.
Why are you even bringing that up, though? And this is the problem with the media right now. You literally have open sympathy for the obvious criminals. Oh my God, what about their parents? They can't get a lawyer. They don't have the resources to defend their kids against these horrible crimes. Hey, tough, bro. I don't know what else to tell you, man. Sometimes that's just how the cookie crumble. But you got more sympathy for these alleged criminals than the actual victims, though. And it's hard to not notice your priorities.
He said, where we are targeting a certain group and then they're affected by this federalization of DC in one particular way, because that historically has happened, where one group is directly more affected than other groups. And sometimes people can get it wrong, is all I'm saying. And at 14 years old, when you get it wrong, this changes your life forever. You have no opportunities. Or like you see some of the people from the Central Park 5 incident are just starting to get their lives back.
Yes, I mean,
And again, that's the job of the media, is to provide cover for what everybody else already knows. There is a problem. We've always had a black crime problem in America, because that's where the majority of the crime is centered, right? It's not that nobody else does crime. It's just that a lot of crime is done by black folk. But nobody really wants to embrace it from that angle, because it's impolite, it's rude, it's not PC.
The system does get it wrong sometimes. That is true. I think in the case of DC, where you have people who are involved in carjackings, theft, smash and grabs, and it's pretty obvious who the suspects are, then we should be really holding those people accountable. And the DC justice system has decided not to prosecute a lot of cases. Under the previous DC attorney, who was appointed by the president, he was not prosecuting 67% of cases. We've now seen a reversal of that under the Trump administration, which is good news. But I think more needs to be done to make sure that this city is safe, because what we've seen over the past 5 years has been, frankly, a disgrace.
And I think that, President Trump can do, instead of doing these press conferences about what he wants to do, maybe he should talk more to local officials that are on a different side of the aisle than him, and have dialogue more often than criticism. We see both sides do it, right? We see the mayor talk to Trump a certain way, Trump talk back, and this is all on TV for show, or on social media to say we disagree and this person's holding funding. And, we see that happening, but more conversation would probably be beneficial in this instance, right? Because he, like he says, I think in the same press conference when he was referring to Texas, is I have the checkbook. He said something about that yesterday. I write, at the end of the day, the money comes from the federal government. He makes these decisions on which locations around the country receive which funding. And so
how about we stop giving funding to single moms, right? How about we aim the funding at nuclear family units, right? That way, if you want to, be drawn, if you're the type of person who's drawn toward federal money, well, you got to be locked in a family unit to get access to these dollars, right? You have to actually totally reconstruct the incentive structure.
This is just a conversation. I'm sure that local officials in DC would love to be supported more to figure out how to boost up and stop more crime. Every local official should want to do that. So a conversation is needed as opposed to a threat.
I mean, yes, conversations are good, but the local officials have failed. I mean, they haven't been doing their jobs. They've been repeatedly trying to pass these so-called criminal justice reform bills that lessen penalties for some of the worst offenders, that allow, teens like this, the 14 to 16-year-olds that are doing the carjackings, they get picked up, they get put back out on the street. They did a press conference or a listening meeting, I guess, rather, with constituents around DC, I think it was 2 years ago now, and they had some city council members there and some members of the local community. And there was a parent there who was a foster parent, and he was fostering a child who had gone out and been involved in one of these carjackings. And he was very clear. My son, my foster son, was immediately let go and brought back to my house. And now what am I supposed to do? Ground him after he just violently carjacked somebody? We need the justice system to do a better job of making sure that they are facing real consequences so that they understand what they're doing is wrong.
Yeah, definitely. There's always room for growth, but
too many women raising kids, for one. And we just obviously way too soft on crime. And then it seems like almost a mathematical reality. I wonder if there's like some kind of insurance actuary that can compile a large amount of data and actually properly construct a formula for this. But it seems though, the more women that we have in government, the less punishment we dole out from a criminal justice perspective, right? It seems like we've gotten softer on crime as we've hit peak feminism. And I don't think those two things are unrelated, you know? I think those two things matter quite a lot.
Let's talk about President Trump. Let me read you what he wrote on Truth Social. He wrote, the law in D.C. must be changed to prosecute these minors as adults and lock them up for a long time, starting at age 14. He said if D.C. doesn't get his act together and quickly, we'll have no choice but to take federal control of the city and run this city how it should be run and put criminals on notice that they're not going to get away with it anymore. If this continues, I'm going to exert my powers and federalize the city, and just to put up with what's happened with crime in Washington, D.C., assault with dangerous weapons, robbery, violent crime, property crime, all down.
But let's be clear. The Washington City Council had a bill to reduce sentences for crimes across the board. And it was so bad that Democrats in Congress joined with Republicans to stop it. The Washington City Council is, in fact, a cesspool of far-left radicalism. That is the truth.
First of all, this president has his hand full. He needs to just go and stay on the federal level. Now, I didn't know, Scott, that my Republican colleagues now all of a sudden believe in bigger government. If that's what they believe in, that government should come in and take over, let's go ahead and start with Medicare for all. 68,000 Americans die every single year. Millions are underinsured. If this how y'all rolling, if this how y'all rolling, let's roll. Let's do
Is there
this.
agreement there?
Let's do this, Scott.
I'm just going to tell you right now, the plight of American hero Big Balls has set off a firestorm in the Republican Party.
You heard it. You heard it. American hero Big Balls.
I'm just going to tell you right now, the plight of American hero Big Balls. Agreement there?
Let's do this, Scott.
I'm just going to tell you right now, the plight of American hero Big Balls.
He's a real American hero. Back in the day, we used to have G.I. Joes and stuff. Sergeant Slaughter, right? Remember, we had Sergeant Slaughter. Now there's Big Balls. Go, Joe.
Has set off a firestorm in the Republican Party. This kid who worked for the Doge guys, didn't shut down any diners that I know of, but he's out of the government now. He goes out on the street.
Just infiltrate all of our information.
He protects a woman from being attacked by a roving street gang, and he had the crap kicked out of him. And, we had a congressional intern murdered not too long ago. I'm just telling you, Republicans right now have about had it with the violence and the idea that you can't even walk around D.C. right now without getting attacked by street gangs.
Don't we have laws on the books already?
400
I served on local government. There is no elected official worth their salt on any level of government that is okay.
That's correct.
With innocents being attacked.
But the problem is they are not tough on crime when it actually happens. and then there are solutions about the environment that crime fester in, it only actually produces more crime. Like pouring more money into a poor neighborhood isn't really going to make the neighborhood rich. Like you kind of, and honestly, things are so bad when it comes to like the Black community. It really does feel impossible when it comes to like a political solution to
And
it
it's
all.
wrong, Scott Jennings.
What do you
It's
mean?
wrong.
What's wrong?
It's wrong to characterize it in that
That
way.
DC is a
that you
violent
have-
place
that
where
you-
people
there-
don't
there-
feel
there-
safe?
There are many violent places.
Okay,
all
so
across
DC,
the country.
DC
Crime is
where
down. Crime is
okay,
down.
so again, Donald Trump is demagoguing the issue.
That's
Is there
right.
violent crime in DC? Yep, just like
Just like
there,
it's
just like everywhere.
Did the city council there try to
and
reduce sentencing?
yes, they did, and that was a problem, and you know that they changed that, and crime is down. Violent crime is down.
The way Democrats keep repeating the idea that crime is somehow down, the more they tell me crime is down, the less I believe crime is down. Is that weird? Am I weird for that? You guys think that's weird? I don't know if that's weird, but the more they say crime is down, the more I believe crime is kind of
down in
up.
DC in all those categories by between 20 and 30%. As a matter of fact, DC's violent crime homicides is down one of the lowest rates in major cities across the country. So Donald Trump is
You're
taking.
saying you feel
so
safe?
Donald Trump, yes, actually, I do feel safe in
There's a
DC.
carjacking
I'm
every
sorry
day.
that you don't, but the problems in DC are.
And that's the weird thing. And on a lot of levels, this really starts to become a South Africa civilizational type of issue. I want you to focus on this particular moment for a minute.
Cities across the country. So Donald Trump is taking.
You're saying you feel safe?
So Donald Trump, yes,
carjacking
actually, I do
every
feel
day.
safe in
There's a
DC.
carjacking
I'm
every
sorry
day.
that you don't.
She, as a Black woman, feels safe in DC. And to the white man, Scott Jennings, she's sorry that you don't. And I think what that almost displays is, like I said, a South African type of civilizational issue. The level of civilization that she may be comfortable living in is completely below any recognizable standard that Scott wants to live in. To the point where Scott might even have difficulty calling what she likes actual civilization. Dare I say, she is comfortable in a more primitive surrounding. And this is exactly one of those under the surface type of issues that it's hard for people to talk about openly, especially when they're like professionals on this mainstream platform. But it does beg the question, when it comes to the quality of life in American cities, it does seem like the average Black American, even like this lady on TV, you're just more comfortable with a lower quality of life. And I suppose that you actually defend this lower quality of life because it's quote unquote Black. True Hype with the 5 ball says, funny how they say crime is down, but they don't say that's across the country, but most crimes happen in the majority of cities en masse. Yeah, I just don't trust those numbers, man. And, you know, all these cities with all these, like, female polices and stuff, man.
These angry, mad, opportunistic, lying Black women.
I don't trust those numbers, bro. I just can't. I can't. I won't let myself trust again.
But the problems in DC are Donald Trump is cherry picking, and so he's using this so that he can try to assert his imperialistic, wannabe fantasy of taking over DC, which he's done before, because he wants to put if there's protests, he wants to bring in the National Guard, he wants to take over, and that's a problem. Now he can't do that. He can't just with the stroke of a pen do that. There's something called home rule that's been in place since 1973, and that came out of the civil rights movement, so that DC, which was a majority Black city, could have control over their local issues. Now, Donald Trump wants to go to Congress, and that which he would have to do in order to take over DC.
Is it a Sydney Sweeney thing? Are Black girls just going to start rocking straight blonde hair? Like, I know Beyonce rocking her big blonde hair. Are black women gonna like start rocking blonde hair or some type of like black ethnocentric trend? It was afros last week. Now it's blonde hair.
Oh, then let them go ahead and have that argument, and then they can talk about DC statehood.
By the way, y'all skirted the issue. Nina asked something. She asked a very direct question. The question was, when something is so bad, are you guys in favor of federalizing it? Are you guys in favor of big government swooping in and taking it over? And if the conversation in DC is so bad that you're in favor of that, then I would ask, are you in favor of that when it comes to poverty? Are you in favor of that when it comes to
No, we're not going to bring the government in to fight poverty. We're not going to bring the government in to help struggling single moms and their children. We will bring the government in to shoot criminals in the street as they rob, steal, and cause all kinds of mayhem and whatnot. We'll bring the government in for that kind of thing.
Y'all stay deserve to die, and I hope they burn in hell.
True Hype with the foul ball says, after COVID, they changed reporting requirements as well as certain definitions and even descriptions of culprits. I noticed that, bro. So like, when I tell you I don't trust the numbers, it's because they've been acting funky with the numbers, bro. Have you seen the graphic I put up earlier today? Why are these ethnicities written down as white? You know, I thought they only did that to the Mexicans because the Mexicans technically can maybe be classified as Caucasian in certain instances, right? But these niggas can't even stretch the Caucasian definition, but on the arrest records, they are classified as white. And this is another thing that the right wing has been noticing over the last couple of years. Like, wait a minute. How'd that black guy become a white guy? Why'd you write it down like that? Who wrote it down like that? I need answers, man. You guys got to tell me how that happened.
healthcare.
We have federalized all
like,
these
like,
things.
no,
We have this
you
massive
have
welfare
not.
system
Like
in this
what
country.
I'm saying is, for you guys who are the small government advocates, are you okay with Donald Trump coming in?
DC is a
and
jurisdiction
using
of
his
the federal
big
government. It is
government-
a subdivision of the federal government. It's
That
not a
has
state.
home rule.
It has no. It does not have
So
home
you don't
rule.
think DC should
Congress-
have home rule?
No,
So then what's the 1973 act that gave
Okay, so let me
DC
ask you
home
this.
rule? No, I'm just curious.
I'm still curious. Let me-
Home rule doesn't matter. He can send the National Guard wherever he chooses to. Laughing Guards with the 5 ball says, hey, they got Snow Pookie, we got Beyonce. It's a fair trade. No give backs. Oh man, we stuck with this shit. No give backs. That's how you gonna hit me, bro? No give backs.
A motherfucker just supposed to take and accept whatever the fuck you say because I'm a black woman. Bitch, shut up. The fuck out of here.
With Donald Trump coming in,
DC is a
and
jurisdiction
using
of
his
the federal
big
government. It is
government-
a subdivision of the federal government. It's
That
not a
has
state.
home rule.
It has no. It does not have
So
home
you don't
rule.
think DC should have
Congress-
home rule?
No.
So then what's the 1973 act that gave
Okay, so let me
DC
ask you
home
this.
rule? No, I'm just curious. So
I'm
DC
still
should have
curious.
home rule?
DC is subject to Congress'
Okay, so let me ask you
jurisdiction. It's
this.
a federal district.
Let me ask you this. Outside of DC, any other place that has an issue with violent crime? Violent crime. by
Are
the
there
way,
any
is
other
sticking
federal
down.
districts?
Right. I'm talking about using big government authority. Using big government
It's a
authority.
federal- it's
to
a unique
solve-
place.
Okay.
So you're okay then with the federal government coming in and taking over like
don't know what the right
garbage
answer is. I
pickup
just know that
and
when we
all
go
the
to the-
things that
I
are
just know that
required.
No, you don't need the federal government to take over garbage and pick up and all that. All you have to do is arrest the criminals. That's it. You ain't gotta do nothing else. Let the city work itself out. If you see a nigga with doing something bad, arrest him. If he fight back, beat him up. If he have a gun on him, shoot him. Those are your rules of engagement.
We go to CNN in Washington to do a show. They send guards out with us to walk us out 200 feet to the street, and they don't do that for our.
Well, they don't do it for me.
Yeah, right?
They might do it for me.
Exactly.
They don't do it for me. They might do it for me. They might do it for some of y'all who
They do it for us.
You're not important enough, man. Nobody cares if you get shot by one of your black people. I mean, honestly, Van, if you really want to go there, you're talking about nobody do it for me.
200 feet to the street, and they don't do that for our.
Well, they don't do it for me.
Yeah, right.
They don't do that for me.
Yeah, Van, you getting shot by a bunch of young black teenagers, it's part of the plan. It really is. It's part of the plan. Big Balls getting beat up, defending some random young white lady in the middle of D.C. in our nation's capital under Trump's MAGA regime, that was not a part of the liberal agenda. And so now we might have to bring the National Guard, bro. They should have beat you up. We could have avoided all of this if they had to beat you up instead of Big Balls, but you went after the wrong guy.
To do a show, they send guards out with us to walk us out 200 feet to the street, and they don't do that for our.
Well, they don't do it for me.
Yeah, right.
They don't do that for me. They might do it for me. They might do it for me. They might do it for some y'all.
They do it for others.
The answer is for the feds to take over DC.
I
That's the answer?
I'm in DC and I feel completely safe. I walk all around DC. No one bothers me. It's cool. Everything's good.
And here, the two black people trying to convince us that everything is just fine. And I want to share something with you guys. One last little piece of video before we get up out of here, because I got to get up in the morning. Houston, Texas, black police. Black on black policing. If you can even call this policing.
Brenda, so you don't
Play with me. Give me the motherfucking
phone right there.
Put it in my motherfucking hand. Play with me.
Brenda, so you don't
Play with me. Give me the motherfucking
phone right there.
Put it in my motherfucking hand.
Yeah, man. So you gonna shoot me over there? Over your sister hitting me in my face? Fuck like me. You sorry.
Hey, wait till they lock your ass up and I told you.
I already know y'all already planned it. Y'all already set it up.
You know, the problem with us is that I don't trust us, you know? I wish I could. I wish I did, but I just don't. Because, you know, we be letting stuff like this just happen. And then we be like, I don't know what the problem is. I don't know why these white folk don't want to live here.
Brenda, so you gonna
Play with me. Give me the motherfucking
phone right there.
Put it in my motherfucking hand.
Yeah, man. So you gonna shoot me over there? Over your sister hitting me in my face? Fuck like me. You sorry.
Hey, wait till they lock your ass up and I told you.
I already know y'all already planned it. Y'all already set it up. I already know. That's fine. But you don't know what I can do. You don't know what I can do to your sister too. Your sister stabbed me. I ain't put no case on her.
She should have made sure the shit stuck. Bitch.
I should have. You the bitch. I'll be a bitch. I'll be a bitch. 212. You ain't shoot that gun. You can't be scared. You ain't shoot that gun. Yeah, you ain't shoot that gun. You ain't shoot that gun. You ain't shoot that. Yeah, she right here. She got a gun on me. I'm just telling you that she put a gun on me, huh?
I don't know if we can fix this problem internally. You know, yesterday, who was it? Steven in the chat. He was saying how it's a sign of deep demoralization that, you know, you need the white man to solve that problem for you. Maybe it is, but maybe it's true.
You want me on that wall. You need me on that wall.
Anyway, I think we're about done for the night. I really can't sit up here forever. We're going to keep this one high and tight. Thank you guys so much for coming through. Appreciate you for watching the show. Shout out to everybody that hit the link. Shout out to everybody that hit that Cash App button. Thank you so much for supporting. Appreciate y'all, your likes and your donations. Thank you. We couldn't do it without y'all.
Come on, share your dollar. Give me your dollar. Share your dollar with me. Come on.
That being said, though, we do have to wrap this up. Thank you for watching. Please hit that like button on your way out. Throw $1 in the collection plate on your way out, and I will catch you guys later.
Aspiring to be patriarchs like what white men have, that isn't freedom. That isn't going to help anybody. It's certainly not going to help black people.
It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done.